What's up, plant lovers? I'm Devin Wallien, and in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to harvest black-eyed Susan seeds, Rudbeckia. I'm going to show you how to harvest them, how to store them, and how to get them planted. Here in North America, black-eyed Susans are one of the most popular perennials. They're very winter hardy, robust, sort of long-lived, and very easy to grow. That's why many gardens across the country grow them. But, at the end of the season, what do you do with those old seed heads if you want to harvest those seeds and then plant them at a later time or share them with friends if you have a really lovely black-eyed Susan collection? That's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. So I'm here in Zone 6B, Westchester, Pennsylvania, and I have some old black-eyed Susan seed heads that I harvested in the middle of March this year. For me, I prefer to leave my old seed heads directly on my plants all fall and winter long to provide some seeds for the birds, and then whatever they don't want to eat, then I go ahead and harvest those old seed heads when I'm doing my spring clearing of my old herbaceous perennial materials, cutting down all that dead stuff in the springtime, including these black-eyed Susan seed heads. That's when I actually collect those seeds. Now, behind me, I have a lovely vase of old seed heads from a few years ago. They make awesome dried seed heads in vases. However, after 6 to 12 months, those old seed heads will not have viable seeds. So there is a timeline from which you can collect those seed heads to when they're viable if you do not store them in a refrigerator. So I have just 5 little seed heads right here, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our fingers and just gently rough these seed heads up, just like this. And we can put these in the trash or the compost pile. So this next section is going to be about separating the seed from the chaff. Okay, so I have just some tweezers just like this, and it makes it really helpful to just separate this chaff. So the chaff is not the seed, so this kind of stuff we do not want. I'll just put that out to the side. So just ever so slowly, gently. Now you can see all of these other materials, these little almost rectangular-like structures, those are all the seeds. So you can see there's a lot of seeds in this area, and you'll be able to tell even better once I clear all of this out. And I like to just keep it nice and separated as best as possible. So here you can see all of the seed pretty well separated. There might be some tiny bits of chaff, but this is looking pretty good. They're all pretty uniform in size. Now you compare these to this is the chaff. It's clearly not seed material. So it's a very tedious process, but it's what we do for our plants. All right, so once you have your seeds separated, if you want to store them, you can store them in the refrigerator for an extended period of time, a few years even. What you want to do, you want to get like an envelope. This is kind of like a waxy, wax paper envelope. Put the seeds right in here. You can label it, and then you'll take this and you'll put it inside of a plastic Ziploc bag. Seal it up. Put it in the refrigerator, and it will store for a couple of years. Now, our black-eyed Susan seeds do need a short period of cold temperatures in order for them to be able to germinate. We call that a cold stratification. So we are going to put them in the refrigerator for about 30 days. So that's the minimum. You can do 90 days. That's also acceptable, or store them longer. And then once they've been in the refrigerator for that period of time, we will take it out and then move on to the next step. You want to get a bag of seedling mix. You can find this in some links in the description below, as well as any other tools that or garden accessories that I might be showing in this video. Just go to the description and you'll find links to everything that you need if you don't already have them on hand. Now, depending on how many plants, how many pots you're going to be filling out, I'm just going to be doing one 4-inch pot with probably half of those seeds that I just harvested. So I put some of that seedling mix right into a bowl, mixed it with some water. Seedling mix is always easier to use when you pre-moisten it. You know it's the right consistency when you take a handful of it, just like this. You squeeze it and water just drips out like that. It's not sopping wet, but it's not dry either. That's the perfect consistency that we want. And from here, I'm just gonna fill up my little container, ensuring that I don't go all the way to the top, that I leave a little bit of a lip, leave it nice and fluffy, just like this. And this is just some old 3.5-inch, 4-inch container from an old plant that I had. You can even use like an old yogurt container, something like that, but you do want to make sure that it is rather small. That's going to be optimal for seedlings. Now we can go ahead and get it planted up. And I'm going to take probably about half of these seeds and just sprinkle it right on top. Just like that. And because those seeds are so small, the only thing that we're going to do is just gently pat them into that soil. Just like that. No need to cover these at all. And then from here, yes, the soil is moist, but it will benefit from a nice little misting. So I'm just going to mist them in nice and gently, just a little bit. Now, my best recommendation is, since we're doing this when the weather is warm, the nights are above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, my best recommendation is to put it outside in a covered area. I'm here on my front porch. It's totally covered. It doesn't get any rainfall. It also doesn't get any direct sunlight. And the warm temperatures of the daytime are perfect. The warm nights will help these plants to germinate quite quickly. In fact, I put this outside here just 6 days ago, and let's check out how it's going. Now look at that, all sprouting beautifully. In fact, you know, once these continue to grow a little bit more, I'll be able to even probably just like cut this in half and have multiple chunks and grow them on, or thin them out depending on what I want to do. I haven't decided yet. But as they start to grow from these seedlings, we're going to want to keep an eye on them. We don't want them to dry out completely. We can continue to mist them. And if you see that the soil is, dry to the touch, or it feels a little bit too light, we can just gently water them. You don't want to have like a watering can that just has a single spray. You want to have more of a sort of rainfall effect, so that you don't damage those seedlings while you are watering them. But if you would prefer to use a seedling heat mat indoors, just take some plastic wrap, put it over the top with a rubber band, just like that. And this is a good opportunity to leave a marking of what it is and what date you've actually planted it. So, Rudbeckia fulgida, May 17th. Now from here, the very best thing to do would be to put it onto a heat mat. If you don't have a heat mat and you do a little bit of gardening, you have house plants, you like to do seeds, it's worth the investment. They're only like 20 bucks. I use mine all the time, and it's going to help your seedlings sprout much faster. And if you do any propagating of houseplant material, stem cuttings, it's also going to help all of those root much more quickly. Let me show you guys my little setup. So this is my setup. I have this black heat mat at the base, and I have it in this plastic container. I leave my heat mat on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's going to raise the temperature in here by around 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And then because I have a whole tray of things, I just put another plastic thing right on top instead of doing the plastic wrap. So if you do a number of containers, something like this is going to be much better. Of course, you can find links in the description below. And these seeds from our black-eyed Susans do need to be exposed to light in order to germinate. So I have a couple of gooseneck grow lights that are super cheap, and they are on 12-hour timers. Now I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to monitor the watering situation because you never want your seedlings to dry out. Every couple days you can with plastic wrap, it's really easy because it does contain that moisture exceptionally well. With something like this, a little bit of moisture will escape, so you will need to take your mister and do this every few days. So for me, I'm actually just going to take this off and add this guy to the club. But I definitely seem to have better success when I just do them outside and allow them to germinate in the natural weather temperatures. Okay, so as these continue to grow, I will continue to monitor them, and we'll revisit once they have continued to continue their journey towards our flower bed. All right. So you can see things are growing in nicely, but it's a little crowded. So what I want to do is I'm just going to thin it out. I'm just going to pull some of the ones that maybe look a little weaker or just not as good. We don't want there to be too much competition, so we can just pluck a few out. You can see they are starting to grow into nice little small baby plants. So as you can see now, it's much clearer, and that's going to allow these guys to grow a little bit better with less competition for root space, nutrients, things like that. And if you really want to save some of these guys that do have nice little roots growing, you could absolutely replant these really nice and gently into their own containers, and they would definitely take. All right, guys, well, look, you can see I've got some roots growing on the underside of my black-eyed Susans. I am in the middle of September. I'm about 6 weeks away from my first frost date. You can find your first frost date. Just do a search online for first frost date with your zip code, and that'll give you an approximate first frost date. And you want to get your plants in the ground about 6 weeks prior to that date. And so that is my cue. I need to go get my Rudbeckia seeds planted in the garden. All right, so I've chosen a spot that stays nice and sunny, and I'm just gonna get these very gently popped out. Just kind of take your hands around the outsides and gently massage it. And you can see it's starting to root nicely. Now, typically when we're planting up potted plants, we're gonna break those roots up, but not this time. It's still pretty gentle, and it's not super duper well rooted, so I'm going to just plant it exactly how it is. Very gently. Just like that. And now you know how to harvest the seeds of your Rudbeckia, get them germinated, get them started, and then replant them into your garden bed. It's a very rewarding process, and I hope that you found this video helpful and answered all of your questions. If not, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer all of your questions and comments. Anyways, thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you guys soon. Ciao.